Hi, my name is Rebecca, and I'm the Information Technology Librarian here at the Winter Haven Public Library. In this video today, I'm going to go over the topics that we discussed in the first class of the file management with Windows 10. So in this class, we're going to talk about just what are files and folders and where they're stored, basics of file management. So we're going to learn about the types of files that there are, the difference between files and folders, an overview of where files are stored, what file extensions are, and what they mean to you. And then we're going to take a quick look at navigating File Explorer, what Windows 10 calls its file navigation system. So first off, I want to talk about files you'll see on your computer. The main types of files I'll be focusing on are what you mostly have to concern yourself with, which are files that we create. So when you make a Word document, that's a file you create. When you take a picture from your digital camera or your phone, that's a file you create. When you create an audio recording, that's a file you create. So any type of file that you have control to manipulate and change is a file you create. And that's our main file types we'll be looking at. But there are other types of files too. So you also have program files or applications. These run programs. So they usually end in .exe, which stands for executable file, meaning that these files, when they're opened, they will cause a specific program to run. When you click on Microsoft Word to use it, you're running an executable file because Word is a program. When you click on the Google Chrome browser, that's also a program file. Just a note with program files that if you ever get an email that has a .exe file in it, you should not download it. This is one of the ways that computer viruses are spread. And the final type of file I want to talk about are support files. These are additional files that programs or the computer uses to get additional information, things like how an icon looks or how a sound effect will play. You really shouldn't mess with support files. They're usually going to be doing something important that you don't need to worry about, but it is good to be aware of them so that just in case you don't delete something. They'll end in very weird file extensions like .dll, .mui, things that basically just don't worry about it and don't delete them. So now that we know about file types, where are they stored? First off, they're in a type of storage, which is either internal or external. So internal storage on your computer is what's called your hard drive. It's usually signified by the letter C. You'll hear it referred to as, like I said, the hard drive or the C drive. It's not always called C, but most of the time it will be. If you save a file to your hard drive, then it therefore lives on your computer. So by comparison, we have external storage. They're external storage devices like USB drives, CDs, DVDs. Your phone is also an external storage. Just to let you know, in the video description, I have links to the class files in here, and there is a file at the very end that gives more examples of external storage types. So if you save a file to, let's say, your USB drive, it doesn't live on your computer, but it lives on that USB drive. So then you can take that USB drive and use that file on different devices, as long as those devices have the programs you need to use those file types. And we'll go a little bit more into that later. Just to review though, we have three main file types: files we create, program files, and support files. These files either live on internal storage, computer's hard drive, for example, or external storage, like a USB drive. Now, to organize your files, that's where the folders come into play. With Windows 10, you get some default folders: pictures, documents, downloads, desktop. Even the desktop is a big folder itself. These document folders usually pop up when you're going to save a file. If you are downloading from the internet, the file folder that will show up will be the downloads folder. When you grab a picture from your SD card, Windows 10 will try and prompt you to put the pictures in the pictures folder. You don't have to do that, but these are meant to be an easy way to remember and navigate folders. Like I said, you don't necessarily have to use them, but since some of the work is already done for you, it does make it easier. For me personally, I have a tendency to first save my files onto my desktop and then organize them later. We'll go over organizing files in the third part of this class. So now let's go into File Explorer. You can reach File Explorer a few different ways. The easiest one is if you have this manila folder on your taskbar. Usually it is pinned to there for quick access. So if you have that there, you just click on it, it brings up your File Explorer. You can pin things to this taskbar below. That's what this navigation menu is called. So anything that you use frequently, you can pin there. If you don't have File Explorer pinned there, you can also get to it by going to the Start button on the bottom left of your computer and hitting this little paper icon here. Technically, this is going to get you into the Documents folder, but if you click on the Quick Access menu at the top left, then this is what's called the File Explorer. So, like I said, Windows tries to make everything easier for you here with this File Explorer by allowing you to customize how you see the folders that you use the most. There are a lot of different ways to view folders and to navigate File Explorer. You just use whatever's most comfortable for you. So here in the File Explorer, you have a few different things. At the top, you have your frequently used folders. You've got folders that are pinned here. I'll go over that a little bit more in the third part of this series when we organize things. But these are just folders that if you've accessed them lately or accessed them multiple times lately, they'll show up in this little frequent folders thing. Then you have here what are your recent files. So these are files that you obviously viewed most recently. If I bring up a file, you'll see that it'll pop to the top of this menu. So if I bring up here on my desktop, if I bring up this Quick Brown Fox file. So I open it up, if I close it, you'll see now that it's popped to the top of this Recent Files menu. This is great for if you need access to a file that you just used that you forgot where you saved it. I myself will do this a lot because when I save a file, sometimes I forget where I save it to, what folder I save it to, or I save it so quickly that I just hit save and then I don't remember where it went. So if I go to Recent Files, I can see where it is from here. And then if you look on the right side of this Recent File menu, you'll see what's called the file path of each of these files. So the file path tells you where the file is located. You read it left to right. For example, let's see, on my computer here, I have this Water Files handout. So this tells me that this file here lives on the D drive, which is for my computer, my USB drive lives in the folder Part 1, Water Files, and then it lives in the folder Handouts. So if I double click on that, I can bring that folder or file right up. But if I want to navigate to there, I can do it a couple different ways. So I can go to the navigation hierarchy on the left side of my File Explorer, click on this little drop-down menu next to the D drive, click on the drop-down menu next to Part 1, and then click on the Handouts folder, and I can see there are my files in that folder. Or I can go to the same way from, if I click on this PC and I see my D drive here, I can double-click that, double-click What Are Files, double-click Handouts, and then it takes me to the same place. You can use a combination of these two methods. There's a lot of different ways to get to the same result. It's just whatever is easiest and best for you. My advice to you is to just play around with it and see what you like best. I don't often use this side navigation menu. I just like to click where I'm going on the right side, but again, whatever is easiest for you. So now that we're in my D drive, I went back there from this PC and double clicked on D drive. We can see I've got a lot of different files and folders in here. With this, the last thing I want to talk about is file extensions. So you can see on the left side of these files, I've got little icons that tell me what type of files these are. So obviously this one is a PDF. You can see that little icon. This one is a Word document. If you hover over it, it'll tell you as well. But to me, sometimes these icons are not always obvious, and I don't want to hover over something. I want to see exactly what it is. So let's say with these image files, I don't know, are they, it says it on this side too, are they JPEG files? Are they PNG files? Are they bitmap files? What are they? you can see it tells you the type on this side, but I also like to hit view and do file name extensions because that's easier for me. That's just the way I look at things. So why are file extensions important? File extensions tell you exactly what program or application is needed to edit these type of files. So let's say with PDFs. PDFs are Adobe readable files. They can be viewed through different types of programs. It's like you can, get a PDF from somebody and bring it up on a web browser or with Adobe Reader. But in order to actually manipulate that file, you need to have the program Adobe Acrobat. So the same goes for, let's say, Word documents. So you can view the Word documents on some other program types, or you can view them in, like, let's say, a web browser. But in order to manipulate that file, you'd have to have the program Microsoft Word. Word may not be the best example because you can also use like Google Docs to bring in a Word document and manipulate the file that way, and you don't have to have Microsoft Word, but you're just not going to have all the same controls as Microsoft Word. So basically, though, the point of talking about file extensions is just to make you aware of what they are and how they're used by the computer. So if you get a file from somebody and it has different type of file extension, maybe it doesn't show the icon on the left side. That may be because you can't use it on your computer. You don't have that program to be able to run it. So on that note, that is the end of the first lesson. Again, the class handouts are available through the video description below through the links. If you have any questions about this class, you're welcome to call or visit the library. Thank you, and I hope I helped you learn something today.